Lesson 6: Valid arguments. An argument is a relationship between a set of propositions S sub 1, S sub 2 till S sub n, that is subscript 1, 2 till n, called premises, and another proposition S called the conclusion. An important application of logic is the determination of the validity, correctness, or otherwise of arguments. The validity of an argument can be determined by the following methods: 1. Venn diagram. 2. The chain rule. An argument is valid if the conclusion is true whenever all the premises S sub 1, sub 2 till S sub n are true. An argument that is not valid is called fallacy. Examples 24. Determine the validity of the argument below with premises S sub 1 and S sub 2 and conclusion S. First premise: all doctors are intelligent. Second premise: some Nigerians are doctors. Conclusion: some Nigerians are intelligent. Solution: let's use the Venn diagram method. We have U, universal set, all people, and we have the following subsets: I, intelligent people; N, Nigerians; D, doctors. From the first premise, this subset doctors is inside intelligent people. So you have intelligent people, then doctors are inside because of the first premise. Now, check the second premise and the conclusion. Some Nigerians are doctors, some Nigerians are intelligent. By implication, some Nigerians are also doctors. So there is point of intersection between the three subsets. So you have Nigerians somewhere here. So this is a point of intersection. The structure of the argument is shown in the Venn diagram above. The shaded region represents Nigerians, intersection intelligent people. Those Nigerians who are intelligent. The conclusion that some Nigerians are intelligent follows from the premises, and the argument is valid. Example 25. In the following argument, find whether or not the conclusion necessarily follows from the premise. Draw an appropriate Venn diagram and support your answer with a reason. London is in Nigeria. Nigeria is in Africa. Therefore, London is in Africa. Solution: let's start with Africa. That is the subset. Nigeria is in Africa. You have the second, then London is in Nigeria. You have it in this form. Ordinarily, this argument is true following the structure, but because of the first premise, which is not true, the conclusion is untrue as well, because London is not in Nigeria. Assuming London is in Nigeria, you have a valid argument. In the Venn diagram, the conclusion follows from the premises. London, subset of Nigeria, and Nigeria, subset of Africa. The argument is therefore valid. Notice, however, that the conclusion is untrue because the first premise, London is in Nigeria, is untrue. Therefore, we may have an argument that is valid, but in which the conclusion is untrue, as I have illustrated with this diagram using the two premises and the conclusion. The second method is the chain rule. The chain rule states that if A, B, and C are statements such that A implies B and B implies C, then A implies C. A chain of statements can have as many links as necessary. Example 25 above is an example of the chain rule. When using chain rule, it is essential that the implication arrows point in the same direction. It is not of much value, for example, to have something like A implies S, then Y implies S. This kind of statement is not of much value because no useful deductions can be made from it. In other words, the implication arrows should point to the same direction when working with the chain rule. Examples number 26. In the following argument, determine whether or not the conclusion necessarily follows from the given premises. All drivers are careful. First premise, careful people are patient. Second premise, therefore, all drivers are patient. Conclusion. Solution. If D, people who are drivers, C, people who are careful, then P, people who are patient, then D implies C. In other words, all drivers are careful implies careful people are patient, because it takes patience to be careful. You are doing something. It takes patience to be careful until you achieve the result. For that reason, C, people who are careful, implies people who are patient. That is, C implies P, implies P. If D implies C and C implies P. Therefore, D implies P. In other words, all drivers are patient. All drivers are patient. This is the chain rule. The conclusion follows from the premises. End of lesson 6.